I have 2 kids and I'm currently 7 months pregnant and a stay-at-home parent. My kids are in grade school and preschool. When my second child was born, I developed postpartum depression and my mother-in-law started helping out with the kids more. I was very grateful at first and I could get medicated and start therapy. However, it seems my husband has enlisted her to help out more and more. She picks up the kids from their school every day, she'll pack lunches for them and drop them off a few times a week. She insists they sleep over at her place on Friday nights and now sometimes Saturdays. My kids have told me that she's told them that I'm too sick sometimes to take care of them and they're lucky to have her, which is true in the past, but not now. I've told my husband that I can pick them up from school and she doesn't always need to bring them lunches and other little things. She says she's retired and has nothing better to do and that he's worried about me and that I'm too stressed out with the baby coming and dealing with the kids already. I feel stressed because I feel like she's taking on the role of mother for me. She picked the kids up yesterday and was 2.5 hours late dropping them off. She doesn't have a cell phone, so I was panicking, thinking the worst case scenario had happened, and she came home and said she took them to the mall to buy them sandals for summer because my husband had mentioned they needed them. I told my husband that, but I also said I would take them shopping this weekend because I wanted to do things with my kids. I ended up yelling at her in front of the kids, telling her that she was not their mom and needed to tell me where she went. My husband is upset. What I did was inappropriate because she was helpful and I shouldn't have yelled in front of the kids. He also said it might not be best for me to go to the mall with them since I'm so pregnant. I asked a Facebook moms group for advice, but they said I'm in the wrong because I should be grateful for having so much extra help. But I feel crazy, like I'm losing my kids to my mother-in-law. Am I wrong? Should I apologize? Edit. I have tried discussing boundaries with her and him, but they both say I'm just hormonal or unstable, and then they sometimes use that as an excuse to say she should help more. They have already decided without me that when the baby is born, she will watch the kids at her house for 2 weeks, so I can settle in when I don't want that. Please let me know if anyone has advice on setting boundaries when the people involved have decided that you're unreliable and don't know your feelings. Not the idiot. Your mother-in-law took your kids for 2 hours without telling you where she went. I don't know how people say you're the idiot for being upset about that. I'd be panicking as well. That is completely inappropriate of her. Also, your husband seems to be dismissing your feelings completely and deciding what you need for yourself. That is a red flag. The issue is with your husband because why is he not listening to you at all? If mother-in-law wants to continue picking up the kids but can't be bothered to get a phone to stay in contact, OP should insist that she gets a cell phone today and that she kept it on and charged. If I was OP, I'd put my foot down at that alone. If husband can't deal with his mommy not getting her way, he needs to go. Next time grandma picks up the kids and disappears, call the police. Custodial interference is a thing for a reason. Dad may give permission, but mom didn't. And now grandma can't be reached, and what if there's an emergency? OMG, I can't believe they're both saying you're hormonal and unbalanced. That will be their excuse to walk all over you for the rest of your life. They'll throw that in your face whenever you get angry about something. OP, they're gaslighting you and alienating you from your children. Do you have family you can go to? Also, get on birth control the second you give birth. The more kids there are in the mix, the more stuck they'll make you feel. Is your mom in the picture? It may be time to call in the big guns. Can you get her involved to push out your mother-in-law? Invite her to visit or stay with you for the first 2 weeks with the new baby with the express reason of taking care of your boys? If not, you need to talk to your OBGYN or someone independent about this to ensure you have some things on record so they don't start gaslighting you after the baby is born. Update. I've called my mom and she'll come close to the due date and stay with us after I give birth. Some of these comments are giving me more stress because I don't think I'm being abused, but this has given me a lot to think about, so I'm grateful that my mom can come. She was horrified to hear that my mother-in-law and husband were planning to take my kids away for 2 weeks, so thankfully that won't be happening. I'm going to talk to him about couples counselling as well and see if that can help with this. I, 50 male, married my wife fall of 2019. I have 2 boys with my ex-wife, both successful in their late 20s and married. One has a kid on the way. My wife has one son, Kevin, who is 20 and lives with us. He and my wife moved in with me after we got married. I have the room because I was alone in the house. I've never really seen eye to eye with Kevin. I love sports. My boys excelled at baseball and football in high school and some college. Kevin is the type that can't be bothered with sports. This is okay, but it means one less thing we can bond over. He's never really seen me as a father figure, and I never really saw him as a son, but I provide for him since he lives with us. Kevin flunked out of college after his first year. He doesn't care. His friend is starting a company after college and promised Kevin a job, and has been fired and quit from his 4th job since. This conversation happened after he was fired again, but I will provide backstory first. First job, Target. He quit because his boss yelled at him. I asked why he yelled at him. Because Kevin was late. Kevin sarcastically said Target didn't lose any money for him being 20 minutes late. Second job, Starbucks. They wanted him to work some morning shifts, but Kevin refused to wake up before 11 a.m., so he quit. Third job, a local grocery store. He was fired under suspicion that he was stoned. I believe it. The kid smokes like a chimney. It's not my place to tell him to stop, though. Fourth job, a friend of mine hired him on his landscaping crew. He was fired because he wasn't calling in or showing up. I was embarrassed because I knew the guy. Kevin had a problem with being on his phone. When the boss, my friend, corrected him, Kevin said he had no right to tell him what to do with his property. After this, I refused to acknowledge Kevin much. Kevin was talking with his mom. His mom is the most amazing woman I'd ever met, but she goes soft on Kevin in my opinion. She's doing her usual, "It's okay, sweetie," routine, and my blood boiled. I yelled, "No, it's not okay, he's a loser." I'll admit I raised my voice. Then I said, "Kevin, you're lucky I love your mother with all my heart, because if it was up to me, you'd be out of this house." My wife snapped at me and I responded that Kevin is 20 and needs to start finding a direction in life. He flunked out of college and can't hold a job that 15-year-olds can do. So I suggested he go spend 2 weeks living with my son and he would whoop his butt into shape. Kevin cried and told me that the worst day of his life was when his mom married me. My wife got very upset with me, which is fair. I flew off the handle. But in my opinion, he's been babied and that's why he acts this way. I think he needs someone to give it to him straight. He even started applying for jobs again after this, so I think my yelling worked. However, my wife is still angry and wants me to apologize. Everyone's the idiot here. You weren't the idiot for telling him the truth, but you were the idiot for doing it the way that you did. Is Kevin a bum? Yes, he is. He needs guidance, but he needs discipline as well. Your wife should give boundaries, such as telling Kevin he has 3 months to find a job so he can help pay bills. You love the problem. She's amazing and wonderful but enabling and coddling. Your wife loves her problem. He's her son, he's wonderful but unmotivated and immature. You have to go to your problem and talk to her and get her to work on her problem. You cannot fix Kevin. You can only work with your wife. Then she can work on parenting Kevin correctly and involving you in it in that it works. I feel for you in that situation. It's an everyone's the idiot here situation currently, but the main idiots are your wife and Kevin. No one wins when the prize is a crown of stupidity on a horse called High Prancing Across the Island of All Alone. Dude, you're getting annoyed about having to share a space with another man being coddled and infantilized at the expense of your time with your lady and money. I'd be angry too, but how we choose to act is our responsibility. Dude was a baby and you chose to be a bigger one. So maybe get off the high horse your success has afforded you and have a real conversation about expectations and consider collecting rent, and apologize later. My fiancé John, 26 male, and I, 19 female, got engaged after a tumultuous few months. I saw flirty messages between him and a co-worker, but finally we're both at a place to move on. He proposed. We're both excited and he's been staying in my summer dorm while I work and do my uni classes. I share this dorm with 3 other girls and we all get along. The girl next to me, Jane, 20, is gorgeous and has an amazing body. She knows how to dress and she's smart on top of all of this. Anyways, I have one caveat with her. She wears a robe towel after showering. The bathroom is about 5 feet from her room and she always rushes back into her room after showering. John was over while I was at work and stopped her in her towel to talk to her while she was dripping wet. He asked her how her classes were and he held her up, not letting her go back in her room, according to Jane. She texted me right after it happened and said it made her feel uncomfortable. I called John and he said yes, it happened, but not as she said. He was asking about her classes and didn't even realize it could be construed as inappropriate. Well, Jane told the other roommates and all gave stories to me on how he hangs around Jane and it has been making her uncomfortable, but she wasn't sure if it was just over niceness or flirting. Well, I think she's just manipulating them and I texted her, "Please don't talk to John or me for the rest of the summer semester. You made him uncomfortable and ruined our friendship with your lies. Next time, cover up your body and wear a proper towel. Now everyone is mad at me, even John. The RAs have revoked my guest policy, so now I have trouble sneaking him in. Look, I know he's talked to her while in a towel, but he is committed to me and wouldn't flirt with her at all. Did I go too far with that message? I feel like I'm the only person who can see through all her lies. Edit. To clarify, she is short, about 5'1", and has a short towel, which means that she bought a very small towel that hardly wraps around her. She purposefully didn't go to her room to change while he was engaging in conversation. She knows what she's doing, meaning she knows she's pretty and wants to flirt. I don't understand what's wrong with laying my boundaries down. Your mid-20s fiancé, who you acknowledge has a history of hitting on women, allegedly sees nothing wrong or creepy with waylaying a college student on her way back from the shower to chit-chat, and you think she's the problem here? Sure, Jan. Please dump John and apologize to your roommates. What the heck? Ha ha ha, you've got some nerve and denial issues. Why in the world does he need to ask her about her classes? Was it urgent? Is he planning on returning to school to hang around more first-year college students? Jane made him uncomfortable. Good, he should be uncomfortable. Send him home. Jane should not have to stop walking around in her dorm so your boyfriend can hang out there while you're not around. You should both move out and let the other girls live in peace. You are the idiot, and so is John. I'd be so mad if I was a college student and my roommate had a creepy older boyfriend creeping around all the time. OP, this is Jane's home. This guy shouldn't even be there. She has every right to relax in her own home and wear a towel on her way from the bathroom to her bedroom without some random guy trying to hit on her. To be very clear, what he did was creepy. He knew exactly what he was doing, and I'm happy that the RAs kicked him out. He doesn't live there. If you keep sneaking him in, they may kick you out next. OP, you're with a cheater. That has nothing to do with Jane. Just like he was flirting with his co-worker, he will continue to flirt again with others. You already know that this is what he does. Also, he is not a catch. He is 7 years your senior, crashing at a college dorm and harassing college students in their own homes. I, 37 male, have a terrible past. I got married at 20, had a kid, had another kid, drank way too much and gambled all our money away, then cheated on my wife. She divorced me, got custody, and I barely ever saw the kids. I didn't pay child support, I never visited. 4 years ago I got sober. My kids are now a nearly adult male and a female teen. I got a job, graduated from community college, got a good office job, got my own place, and started paying child support, which I'll have to pay for a long time because there are so many years I didn't cover. I see my kids on the weekends, and we're slowly establishing a relationship again. I've been dating my fiancée for a little over a year now. We live together and her son, teen, lives with us. For his birthday, we bought him a car. For my son's last birthday, I got him an Xbox, and for my daughter's, a new guitar. When my ex found out about the car, she flipped out and said if I have extra money, I can buy stuff for my actual children who also want nice things. I told her I got my kids what they asked for on their birthdays, and if they wanted cars, I would gladly pay 50% of the cost, because I paid 50% for my stepson and my fiancé paid the other 50%. She called me a selfish idiot and said I hadn't changed at all. You are the idiot, you owe back child support. While that doesn't mean you can't honour your stepson's birthday, there's no reason you should be purchasing him an expensive gift while your ex is bearing more than her fair share of the cost of raising your bio children. Put another way, the only reason you could afford to pay for half of your stepson's car is you haven't paid for so much of what your bio kids need throughout their childhood. Excellent point. Until you pay back your ex, you are essentially using her money to make yourself look like a big guy. You're getting more satisfaction and thanks from the extravagant gifts than the back child support. It's selfish to reward yourself in this way. The gifts should be within your means and more balanced momentarily between the kids. If they wanted cars, did you think it would be reasonable for teens who didn't see you for 12 plus years to ask for cars? I'm sure they thought an Xbox and a guitar were a stretch. I knew I pushed my luck but knew the upper limit. You are the idiot. A year? A year and you get this kid who's not your stepson, by the way, since you're not married to his mom, a car, while you neglected your kids for years? An Xbox isn't even close to half of a car. Be honest. You should have just paid 100% for a car for them to share and gotten your girlfriend's son a $50 gift card at most. Geez, her kid's actual dad should have been the one to get his car, not when you have two kids who have had an absent dad all these years. I, 36 male American, lost my wife 2 years ago. She was 33, Japanese. I worked in Japan when I met her 8 years ago and stayed there. She was a single mom to a boy who is now a tween, and I adopted him after we got married. I'm now his only parent. We moved to the US for my job a year ago. He loves it here, Seattle. He has some friends, his English is perfect, and we still go to Japan for holidays 2 times a year to see his maternal grandparents who live there. Unfortunately, he has a Japanese name that sounds a lot like an English curse word. So he's been getting bullied in school a lot. He's starting a different school in the fall and is scared the bullying will continue there. I told him I loved his name and his mother chose it because it has a lot of meaning in Japanese. Nevertheless, if he wants to change his name, like adding an American middle name, and go by the new name, we can do that. He was happy that he had this option. He said he would think about it. His maternal grandparents are outraged, calling me an idiot, and saying I'm Americanizing my son. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. If it makes your son happy, then that's all that matters. His grandparents should be ashamed that they'd rather him continue being bullied and feeling hurt. They have to remember that their grandson is a person who has mixed nationality. By providing him with an American middle name and keeping his first name, you're teaching him to embrace both parts of his nationality. He's just as American as he is Japanese after all. I'm sorry for your loss, and I think you're doing the right thing in letting your son add a new name to help him have an easier life in school. You definitely aren't an idiot. In my country, changing your name is tough, and I'd encourage anyone who can choose a name for themselves if they don't like theirs. But I'm also not prepared to call his grandparents idiots. They lost their daughter and their grandchild is far away. So while it's not rational at all, it's emotionally understandable that they feel giving him a different name is slicing away at his mother's heritage. Maybe meet with his new teachers beforehand to discuss using an English name for your son. Lots of first-gen Asian American kids have an English nickname they use in school without legally changing their names. It's a good compromise in my opinion, without doing anything official, and if he wants to as an adult, he can legally change it.